And buenos dias, everyone. Bienvenidos. Welcome back to Sentimiento Latino, the very first Sentimiento Latino of 2022. It's good to be back. Welcome, everyone. I know we've been on a bit of a hiatus, whether it was Sentimiento Latino, Copa Hyperion, even our own Duckling tournaments, but we are coming back one by one, and I can't wait. I love it. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you want to have a look at that bracket as we dive into our very first series of the day and spawning in the top left-hand corner for the very first time this year. On Berlingrad LE, we have the Brazilian Terran player representing Amantes de StarCraft. He is Terran. It is YanXII. Or YanXII. You know, it's been years. We've been casting this player for the past 2 years, and we still don't really know how to pronounce his name. Shaking my head. As I quickly just double check my audio levels. Just quickly double check. Hold on, we can bump this up a little bit. There we go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Berlingrad LE, we have his opponent, one of the very people in the chat, El Argentinian Protoss player. He is teal. It is Maximo. Let's go. Oh my god. So it's great to be back, everyone. I know we've been on a bit of a hiatus, but it's great to be back with some Sentimiento Latino. Again, the first of the year, the first of many. This is Sentimiento Latino 122. 122 weeks. My god. It's been absolutely insane. And today we have a pretty exciting bracket. I don't know if people were paying attention, but the title of the stream did change. Originally, we were going to cast Eon, the Costa Rican player. Eon versus Roro. Roro is someone else who also pops up in the chat. But he's a pretty good GM Mexican Terran player. I was very excited to cast Eon versus Roro, but unfortunately, Roro was AFK. Like, I was messaging them, I was messaging Eon, and we were kind of waiting for like a solid maybe 6, 7, 8 minutes. And it's like, yo, Roro's AFK. Obviously he has time to get to get to his PC and to play out their series, and hopefully they are playing out their series. But you know, I couldn't really wait just for Roro when there were all these other matches going on. So this was kind of our second pick. And here we are, and oh my god, I'm a little bit surprised. Talking a little bit about the game, obviously YanXII is a very talented player that we've been casting for many years. For those wondering, when we were first casting him, he was underage. What does that mean? He actually was ineligible to compete in DreamHack. He was 15, and you have to be 16. So I remember the first year we were casting him, like, he's obviously GM, and he's a great player, and we were like, yo, what happened? Why didn't you play in DreamHack? What was going on? We were missing you. That was back last, maybe even 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. In 2020, and he was like, I wasn't eligible. I couldn't compete. And fun fact, I think it was DreamHack summer of that year where he could finally compete because his birthday ticked over and he hit 16. I was like, oh my god, that's great. So he's a very young player. At the moment, I think he's 17. But because he's also focusing on his studies, like on high school, I should say, he is also kind of inactive. He's the most active at the ends of the year, like December, January, February, March, like November. That's kind of where he's the most active. A lot of that, I imagine, is because of school, but that means that we don't get to see him all year round, and that does kind of stifle his progress a little bit. Meanwhile, Maximo's here across the map, and yo, he's actually trading incredibly well. YanXII opened up with a very conservative build, like he went for a CC on the high ground, eventually did get the CC, so it's not a one base play. Maximo is kind of in the dark. He was able to scout that CC, but we can see it is a 3-racks opener. You know, Stim is on the way, combat shields as well. This is going to hit hard, and what I'm worried about is that Maximo hasn't seen this. He has seen the bio ball, so this should trigger in his mind, oh my god, like this is obviously not a 1-1-1, there's a lot of bio here, I need to get ready, and there we go. Immediately he throws down the shield battery. Problem is, one shield battery isn't enough. We have Marauders. Like, these are building busters. They don't give a damn about your shield batteries. They're just going to focus it down. So we need a second one further back for that overcharge. Not just a shield battery further back, but this pylon is very exposed as well. If there was a shield battery back here, then the pylon would just be focused down. So this can be very difficult to hold. Maximo has to prepare, and he is, but I don't think he's ready for it. He has a couple of stalkers. Blink is going to finish up almost the same time as Stim, which is cool, but YanXII scans. YanXII likes what he sees. It's like, oh my god, Blinkless stalkers and a shield battery, let's go. But of course Blink is done, so now Maximo has a little bit more micro potential here. He's gonna try and pick off one of these Marauders, and almost gets one. Oh, I love it. He baits out a Stim, and with that he does back off all the way to that shield battery. Ugh, premature overcharge. Ay. So Maximo does waste that, but, you know, at least he did force out a Stim. He has slowly chipped away at this army, and he's going to be able to chase this down. So Maximo, he, in the end, responded well. Oh my god. I don't know about that. He blinks forward on top of the army, and then we see the Stim forward. As a result, a lot of stalkers get picked off. Eventually, all of this will be cleaned up, but not the best trade that Maximo could have gone for, losing 4 stalkers in the end. And oh god, small Marauders on the way. But yeah, I'm very impressed with how Maximo was able to hold in the end. Didn't really lose too much at all. Now he has a War Prism. Now he can go across the map. Obviously, he's not all in or anything. He's still working off of 4 gates. And there is a 3rd base behind this. We see another scan. YanXII has been scanning a lot. Oh my god! What is this, like the 5th scan of the game? Maybe the 6th. He's been using them very freely, and that does impact his economy. He's barely been muling. I don't blame him. He's the higher rated player, so because of that, like, you know, you want to be on top of your opponent. You want to be figuring out what they're doing. He was afraid of cheese early on. That's why he went for the high ground expansion. So again, all this makes sense, but he is putting himself behind as a result. Meanwhile, Maximo sees all of this. Does have that observer on top of the entire army, so he is able to get an eye on things. If he wanted to, he could try and blink into the main base. That's kind of what I expected him to do, right? You blink in, especially here on the right hand side, and then you snipe a couple of add-ons, and then you blink the hell out of there. But in the end, he does leave. He does spot this move out. The observer does see everything, but is he ready? A shield battery only just now being thrown down. We don't have any splash damage, which is a little bit concerning. He opted to prioritize charge instead of a robotics base, so there's still no Colossus, still no disruptors, only stalkers and a single immortal. His robot production just stopped completely. Uh-oh. Meanwhile, we see another Stim forward. That one immortal we were talking about immediately gets focused down, and YanXII, he just has his way with all of this. Like, Blink Stalkers is not what you want to be seeing right now. We see an overcharge just barely being popped off, and it looks like Maximo once again will hold on, but oh god, like, YanXII traded so incredibly well. Oh. Meanwhile, as we get into this game, I did want to give a bit of a shout out. I didn't get to say it earlier, but Soundo, massive shout out to Soundo. He did resubscribe 13 months, I believe. Yeah, oh sorry, 16 months in a row. Oh my god. That's a lot of months. Thank you so much, Soundo. Very, very big, long-time supporter of the CranKy Ducklings. Quack. Thank you. Meanwhile, Maximo here. There is now a tank. Oh, nice target fire on that medevac. Honestly, again, very impressed with how Maximo's pulling this off. At the same time, War Prism is getting ready to go into the main base. There's no vision. There's no turret. War Prism could do a lot. Charge is done, but the army is coming across the map, and we're on Berlingrad. It doesn't take long to get across the map, and unfortunately, Maximo, he's not quite ready for this. We were talking about it before. His Colossus production is so delayed. I understand that the game has been pretty intense and he hasn't had the time to do so, but that is really hurting him in the end. That is something that does separate him from some of the other Protosses, and once again, he's popping overcharge. He's going to get on top of the first tank. Nicely done. But the second one is protected by all of this bio. We see another Stim forward. Are these charges going to be enough? Yo! Maybe? god, maybe waiting for another warp in. First Colossus is finally on the way, +1 as well. Finally, we have all these upgrades. Speaking of upgrades, we are missing Extended Thermal Lance. We do have a bank for that, but I understand that Maximo, he's got a lot of pressure on him right now. He has a Terran army breathing down his neck. I almost said throat. I was like, what? Oh my god. Meanwhile, the charges are coming in. They're tanking a lot of tank shots. It's what they do. It's what they're there for. But he cannot close the distance. Not yet. Meanwhile, YanXII is not rallying across the map. His reinforcements are still here at home. He's getting his third base up and running, getting it fully saturated. And what's important to note is this entire game, his economy has been left untouched. We have another warp in, and with this, finally, this tank should go down. Target fire? Yeah, we go. Tank does fall, and Maximo again, now he's going to be able to hold on to this 3 shield batteries. We have a Colossus, just barely does he hold on, and I love it. In the midst of all the defense, he does get a 4th base up and running. Finally, Extended Thermal Lance is on the way. A second Robo for the double Robo production, whether it's double Colossus or switching into Disruptors. But I do think that Maximo is slowly being broken, and as we speak, like, it's just too much. He's barely been holding on this entire game, but it looks like he's finally cracked. Like, YanXII just has too much. There's not enough here. Where is that warp in his zealots? We need a buffer for the Colossus. No, the Colossus just came out. Oh, God. And it gets focused. It gets targeted by all of the bio. We finally have all those charge outs coming in. They get the tank once again. You don't want to be one of YanXII's tanks. His tanks, they just don't live too long. But GG gets called, and YanXII takes game number 1. GG. Now I gotta catch up in the chat. Senor Pato, sí. Welcome. Well, good morning, Asher Bro. Good morning. Good morning, Inch to the Maniac. Yes, a big bracket today. Oh my god. Thank you so much, Chileno Singaporean. 1 year of great tournaments. Quack, quack. Thank you, Chileno Singaporean. He's a very special viewer in our chat. What I mean by special is that he kind of brings together our 2 aspects, our 2 like main demographics, and that's Latino America and Oceania, and it all comes together. Technically Southeast Asia, but you get what I mean. Oh, also I need to work on this. Boom. There we go. I'm now joined by my lovely plushies here on my right, here on this lovely beach side, as the players are getting ready for game number 2. Meanwhile, it looks like I have confirmation. I think there was a walkover in the end. Oh. So I let them know that I'm ready. Just quickly refreshing the bracket to see if there are any updates. And it looks like no updates so far, but yeah, no updates so far. Okay. Oh, Finantok in the chat, you'd be happy to hear. Kind of happy. So when the bracket went live, I noticed something. I was like, hold on, someone's missing. Someone who made a promise last week in Copa Hyperion. That was Paco Mike. If you remember, Paco Mike showed up in the chat as we were casting Copa Hyperion, and he was like, oh my god, it's been so long, I've been competing too much. And we were like, mate, where are you? We miss you. We need some more Protoss in Latino America. And he's like, okay, I promise, next week I'll be there for Sentimiento Latino. And he wasn't in the bracket, but he was in game. And I was like, mate, what the hell's going on? Like, you're here, but you're not here. And he said, I'm sorry. Like, I thought it was 1 hour later. Like, I got the times mixed up, like he got confused. I was like, shaking my head, mate, I was like, Darking, make this work. And Darking, of course, is the admin of this tournament. And he, typically when there are walkovers, he substitutes players, so there are actually games going on. And it looks like, if you look at the bracket, Paco Mike has been subbed in, even though he wasn't here for check-ins. He has been subbed in, and he is there against Facebooka in round 1. Oh, shout out to Darking for making that happen. It looks like he also replaced Mako, who also didn't show, as 15 minutes did pass, and Tavo is competing as well. Some very high quality players. Speaking of high quality, here we go. We're in game number 2 of this series, and spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the Brazilian player, the youngest Brazilian player I believe here in this tournament, representing Amantes de StarCraft. It is YanXII. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the Argentinian Protoss. He is teal, representing currently himself. I believe he used to be on Alpha X. I guess not anymore. It is Maximo. Massive shout out to Maximo. He's always there in the chat, Chilean with everyone, or Argentinian with everyone. Oh god. Despite English not being his main language, and that's another thing that we love about the Latin American scene. Quite often we get a lot of them popping up in the chat. Fun fact, I was streaming last night and Jim Rising showed up in the chat. At first I thought it was like an alt account. I thought someone was just using the Rising name. I was like, oh hey, I guess you're a Jim Rising fan. And then I checked and he was a verified streamer. I'm like, oh. What's up, Jaime? He was watching me lose horribly at Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Been playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Recently. Of course, we'll be getting back into our StarCraft streams as well. Of course. Don't get me wrong. The love for StarCraft is still real, especially with everything that's been going on. Fun fact as well, I should mention this. I was actually a part of a StarCraft talk show yesterday. Currently, it was just uploaded to YouTube. I think we retweeted it with the CranKy Ducklings account. So if you want to tune in to a talk show with myself, Chicken Man, Eddie, and the Polish player Art, we did just have a bit of a chat about the tournaments and 2021 and everything that happened, and you know, our thoughts going into 2022, what we have planned. You know, it's kind of like a wrap-up OSC highlight show. It did go on for a little bit long. Honestly, it was like a 2.5 hour podcast in a way, which is quite long. It was actually my first time being on a talk show and my first time interacting with Chicken Man. Fun fact, like I've messaged him and we've talked in Discord before, like via messages, but never in a voice call. So it was a fun experience. It was fun. Meanwhile, speaking of fun, of course, YanXII's here across the map. Oh, he can knock his way in! The grenades! Oh my god, he doesn't even need the grenades! Maximo just backpedals in, and now the Hellions are getting into the main base. They get into the middle line. Oh no, boys are being pulled back. No! They're bunching up! Puppy, please split! Puppy, split! Oh no! Well, it was a very different opener. It was a bit of a 1-1-1 opener instead from YanXII, and there wasn't a wall here at the natural. The wall wasn't a wall at the ramp either. The Hellions and Reapers got so much damage. The grenades weren't even necessary. I was like, yo, the Reapers, they can knock the Stalkers out of the way, and then the Hellions can just run in. Wasn't even necessary in the end. YanXII doing so much damage. Meanwhile, Maximo was trying to be cheeky. That is why you could argue that, yo, there's some buildings missing here. What's going on? He was proxying across the map, but he was just forced to warp in at home. When he wanted to warp in aggressively, I'm sure, with Adepts or with more Stalkers. Blink is about to finish up, by the way. I'm just shocked by the lack of gateways. This is the third gateway that's about to finish up. There's not a lot of production. He's basically 3-gate all in. Like, he lost so many probes. And what can he do across the map? Does he have high ground vision? No, he does not. He doesn't have a sentry for hallucination. He doesn't have he doesn't have much of anything. Maybe he can catch a tank. Oh, can he get one? He will get one tank. Okay, nice pickoff so far. The blinks are, oh no, the miss rally. Okay, the blink saves him for now. So a nice catch. He does slowly like stutter step against his bio. He's about to get surrounded. Oh, it's okay. Hellions aren't the best unit to surround. Hellion does get taken out. God, but he's losing so much. Only a single Stalker survives. We have another warping across the map, and this is dangerous because the army, it's getting ready to move out. Like, we need an army at home. To be fair, recall is always available, right? Oh my god, boys are even being pulled. Let's go. YanXII turns around. Oh, at least Maximo, he's buying some time, right? He's forcing the army to turn around, and he recognizes that the army is on the way. It's active on the map. He needs shield batteries. He needs more than one shield battery. He needs army. He needs anything and everything. And the problem is that he's been spending so much money rebuilding all the probes that he just lost. Meanwhile, here we go, YanXII, he's here across the map, he's got his 2 tanks, did lose one of them earlier, but now we have a Banshee as well, more Banshees on the way. Very interesting opener, but again, very aggressive. He's here, he's across the map, and I don't know if there's a world where Maximo can defend against this. We do have an overcharge, it's trying to keep everything alive, but with 2 tanks, that's a lot of damage. Not just that, if YanXII wanted to, he could just send his Banshee into the main base. Like, there's nothing stopping him from trying to multi-prong and harass. First bunker is being thrown down. The SCV's almost dead, but so are the Stalkers. Oh my god! The tank fire is insane! GG! YanXII takes game number 2 and takes the series 2-0. GG. Well played, YanXII. Well played, and my condolences go out to Maximo. His run is over, but I'm honestly pretty impressed with how he performed. Maximo, he's not a pro player by any means. He is just a fan, or a fan of StarCraft, so a fan of the community. He wants to be a part of it. And to go up against a pro player, it takes a lot. So shout out to Maximo for performing as best as he could. But YanXII in the end does come out on top, and he will move on to the next round. And there's a reason why I wanted to follow this series. There's a reason why this was my second choice. If you look at the bracket, YanXII goes up against the Zerglord.